Welcome back to the Business Roundtable Podcast. Once again, I'm your host, David Carr, founder of Steward Business, bringing people together to accomplish great things, including amazing guests. We have a brand new guest to the podcast this week. Dr. Kayvon K is grateful to have you here. And so we have met through one of our networking groups called Success Champions Network. And I said, okay, we got to have you on here. You've got so many great insights and a journey. So I just love having you here. Welcome to the podcast.
Hi, David. Thank you very much. I'm very happy to be here. I'm glad that we met and we connected. Every conversation that I had with you has been fun and valuable and helpful. So, if the idea of recording this will help somebody else, let's do it.
Absolutely. Well, you bring a unique perspective to business, and I think we all have blind spots, but I feel like as you and I talked before we started recording this podcast, and
Yes.
I felt like that you bring a great value and strategy. And I was just talking strategy, AI strategy, different kind of strategy in a
Yes.
recent episode, but I feel like you bring a different strategy and perspective from your background. And I'd love for our listeners to understand a little bit more before we get into it. You are a doctor, so look at that,
Yes.
Doctor Kayvon K. I'm gonna just refer to you the K because it's easy
Yes.
for me. But
K
take us
or a
back.
big K or a special K, all of that
Super
works.
K. Yeah, exactly. I love that you're so approachable. But take us back, hey, about your journey, because like I said,
Yes.
you are a doctor, and what got you to what you're doing today, where you're
Yes.
helping biz development for fractionals and beyond.
Yes, yes. Okay. Um, I connect both what I do and the background story together in one I guess answer. Yes, after high school, I went to medical school and started to study medicine, and it was a 7.5 year journey. The whole medical school is one shot back home, and it was going well, and I was enjoying it. I was a good doctor, and my patients were, you know, getting the help that they needed. But as time passed by and life happens, and different things, I noticed that I am changing, and I'm not the same person who started near the end. And basically, the empathy was too strong, and I was losing my ability to hold that emotional wall between myself and my clients, my patients, and their pain was becoming my pain, and that sort of thing. I realized this is not working for me anymore, and I was feeling miserable, and I had
Mm,
nightmares and that sort of thing. So this is near the end of it, about 6 months or so before the graduation. So I thought, this is not sustainable. I we have this idea of, I have put all of this investment and time and energy in it. I should
absolutely.
not give it up. But what are we exchanging that for? And I noticed how, the feelings that I had, the miserable, and I thought, if I don't cut this now, it's going to be 5, 10, 20 more years of this. So it was clear for me that this is not the future for me. So I finished it, got the degree, and closed that chapter.
Mm,
Especially being in front of a patient was very, very hard for me. Um, I was lucky that within a year or so after that, I moved with my ex-wife to Canada, Vancouver, where I live now, which was a
mm,
great opportunity, new city, new beginning, and all of that. In that time between graduation and the moving to Vancouver, to make money, I was my father's surgical aide. He was an surgeon, OBGYN.
mm.
So that was easier part of the medicine, because you just go to the operation room and patient is already sleep, and you do the operation and you come out. So yeah, with my father, we did so many C-sections together, and which is the happier side of the medicine, bringing babies to this world.
Yes.
Yes. And my friends always make fun of me. "Hey, look at this guy, his side hustle was C-sections."
Oh, gee. Oh,
So when I
goodness.
moved to Canada, this is back in '98. So internet and web design and all of that was a big deal. My
Mhm.
56K modem was a fast internet connection back then. So I started to teach myself web design. I was already good and comfortable with computers. In fact, during medical school, I was already making money with computers. I had a
Mm,
team of 7 people helping me with data entry for different companies and that sort of thing. So I started to teach myself web design and HTML and a little bit of a graphic design. Then I learned about adjacent technologies like JavaScript and PHP, and I taught myself programming and C sharp and databases. So after about a year or so, I was a web developer, internet
mhm.
programmer.
Yep.
I was doing that. I got a job doing that. I had my freelance stuff going on. And after a while, I had more projects, and that became my full time thing. Then I had more projects, and I had to ask for help. And one day, I found myself signing paychecks. And I said, "Oh, I guess I have a business now."
Yeah, there you go.
So, similar to the clarity that I had a bunch of years ago, it was clear to me that I don't know anything about business. So, this is early 2000s, right?
Mhm,
Don't know anything about business. So, I either have to bring someone who knows or I have to become that person.
mhm.
It was more attractive to me. So, I started to studying what is entrepreneurship, what is marketing, what is business growth, how all of that works, what about the team, this and that. And the more I studied, the more fascinating it was. My web design and internet programming company, we grew up to 12 employees at some point. We had clients as large as Nokia, a
Mhm.
lot of small business clients. And as we were doing that, we were setting up, the website and the technology behind it. They were asking about other stuff that they were not part of our services, which these are the early days of landing pages and opt-in
Oh,
pages
yeah.
and that sort of thing. So we got into more and more of that, and the company morphed into an online marketing company with the implementational technology side of it. So we were doing that for a bunch of years, and I'm still studying and learning and find growth and marketing and everything around it fascinating. So after a while, I noticed a new pattern is emerging. That my clients are asking me they're telling me that the technical work is fine, but they find the highest value in our one-on-one conversations.
Yep.
Something always comes up when you are, studying, and I was reading about equivalent of 50 business books a year, kind of a thing, for
Yeah.
a few years. So I thought, hey, I like talking. So I
Mhm.
trimmed all of the technical work around it, kept the conversations, called it coaching. And I have been a business growth coach since 2006.
Wow.
I have been doing this. Have been so many ups and downs and lessons that I have learned. All the mistake. If there is a mistake in the book, I have made the mistake, which is, my value
Hey,
now that I tell people I made the
absolutely.
mistakes. Yeah, you don't have to. Um, there have been different iterations, and because I had to learn so much about how to run um, a business that is just you, as well as the things that I have learned with running a business with teams and companies and my clients and that sort of thing, I noticed that I'm getting a lot of those questions. And just about a year and a half ago, I was thinking, so who needs this a lot? And I thought I really enjoy working with people who are professionals. The work has a big impact, is more on the strategic level. And I looked around, and at some point, somebody mentioned the fractionals. I said, those are the people that I'd like to hang out with. And as a bonus point for me, I guess, not for them, when it comes to basically work on themselves and be their own brand and run their own business, they need even more help than regular coaches and consultants. So I thought these are the groups this is a group of people that I can really help,
Mhm.
and the kind of a thing that I do is really valuable to them. So I have been working with fractionals, helping them set up their practice. There are different elements to it. There is the entrepreneurship mindset side of it. There is
Yep.
systems and processes, but the most important thing that is on top of the list is business development. It's challenging, not only for fractionals, for everyone. How to
Yes.
get out there, how to stand out, how to basically present ourselves and become the choice, moving from being a vendor to the expert in
Yeah.
the mind of a person that you're talking to. So that became the thing. So I have been working with the fractionals. It has been good. So all of these people who come from corporate background and they used to fill C-level positions are my clients now. And I guess my story arc would be from C sections to C level.
Well, I love that. Well, here on the Business Roundtable, we're always talking to business owners, and business owners, I think it's important that, many of them are looking
Yes.
to hire fractionals, so are looking to hire folks that help them. They're not in a stage where they don't need a full-time, C-suite if
Yes.
necessarily. And so knowing how they can pick through and find that right individual or company is important. I think your strength, Kay, and one of the reasons I wanted you to have me on the podcast is because you've taken things that you just gave us a whole list of things that are very complicated,
Mhm.
from surgery to all these technical databases and information, and you've been able to make it, something that is easier to consume, understand, and appreciate. And I think that's why the fractionals come to you, because it's like they're dealing with a lot of complex issues, and
Yes.
but how do we cut through that
Correct.
and make it clearer to the marketplace, right? I mean, I feel like there's a lot there, and that's probably why they're gravitating UK, right?
There
Is
are
you're
so many
helping them.
moving parts, and you
Yeah.
don't know, you know, which ones apply to you or which one we should do first. And it has so many parts. It's a complex, and if you just get the complex to the complicated, that's
Yes.
already improvement. Improvement. So there's value there.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And I think um I found this okay, is that things get complex and we don't know how to handle that. And then we often maybe trying to offload stuff, which it's too early, or we don't know where we need to
Mm,
get involved. So somebody like you coming in, and why I have you on the podcast is that you can come and be a resource to say, hey, maybe I don't know what I don't know. And I have Kay that's made the mistake
yes.
or send there, and he can look at things and see where I'm headed in my company, and say, might want to consider this,
Yes. Yes, yes,
right?
exactly. That's how it works for, well, not only just my clients, for myself as well. We all need somebody else to look at the work that we're doing. As we could have our own coaches. I have my own, coaches,
Mhm.
mentors, and we help each other, or accountability buddies, and that sort of thing. That's external vantage point, external point of view, is something that we all need. It's not
Yeah.
just we can benefit from, we need it, because for the sake of being human, we are too close to our work. This whole, I see it every day, that the thing that we do so easily for other people, it is so hard to do it for ourselves, and it's never as good as, because
Mhm.
we don't have the same external vantage point relationship with it. So right there is one big value that we can provide to other people.
Yeah. No, it's so important. That's what I love about meeting you through SEN and others, is that we meet others that hold up a mirror, give us some different perspectives
Yes.
that we didn't maybe consider. And so, as a business owner myself, I'm not necessarily a fractional, but I think I still
Yes.
take some of the things that you're sharing and apply it to myself. How do you know, how, as a business owner, as a fractional, where should they be, I guess, looking at their business or saying, hey, I might be missing the boat? Where's a way of, like,
Mm,
maybe they don't know exactly what it is, but what are some of the symptoms that you see, Kay, of
yes.
like what you should be looking
Yes.
for? You're like, there might be
Well,
a
I'm glad
problem
you
here.
mentioned symptoms. That
Yeah.
sounds familiar. So here's the thing. Um, there are signs and there are symptoms. And this is something that I have learned from medical school. So stuff that I learned over there, let's apply them to business. Signs
Absolutely.
and symptoms. Signs and symptoms are two different things. Symptoms are the things that the patient feels or talks about. Like, they come to see the doctor, say, I have a headache, or my arm hurts, or you know I feel nauseated. Those are the things that they come up with. But through the examination or the lab test, the doctor, I may find other things, like I take the blood pressure, oh, it's very high, or take a blood test, there is something in the test. Those are the things that the doctor finds, and those are the signs. And the combination of signs and symptoms helps us with the process of diagnosis, to see what this picture is telling us. So
Hmm.
I thought, that's how my brain is trained to think.
Yeah.
So I bring that to helping my clients. There are signs and symptoms of things that they're not happening. My business is called Simplify Profits. That whole simplification of the process for the goal that we're going towards. So when the money situation is tricky, whether it's revenue or eventually profitability, we want to do something about it. So that's our symptom. Business is not doing as well as it can do, or revenue is low, and all of that. The signs are, we need to look for what's missing in the picture and what needs to happen. So I thought, the when you look at the market and somebody has that challenge of revenue is not as much as I wanted, or the business is not growing, there is this common answer that we get attacked by, bombarded by every day, that you need more leads, you need more leads, lead generation, which, you know, is a good answer, but cannot be possibly the answer for every situation that
Yes.
everybody is dealing with. So, but it becomes that I have a hammer, everything is a nail kind of a situation. So,
Yeah.
whatever is happening, just throw more leads at it.
Hmm.
Um, and I thought, oh, hold on a second, this can't be like that. So let's look at it. Um, is it true? where is it true and when is it not true.
Yep.
So after doing my work, this is what I came up with. We, as a business owner, whether it's a small business or an individual, we have one of the three challenges. Either people don't even pay attention to us, or if we manage to get their attention and start a conversation, they don't choose us. And we don't become, as I said, the expert or the solution to them. And sometimes they choose us, but they don't eventually buy from us.
Yes.
So those are three different problems. And
Yes,
some people
absolutely.
have the second one, but not the first one, but the first one, not the third one, and that sort of thing. So if that's the case, if they don't pay attention to us, it's a marketing problem. And if they don't choose us, it's a connection, relationship, and branding kind of a problem. It's a messaging kind of a problem because so many companies can help us bring a lot of leads to our website or a landing page, but things don't click in and people just
Yep.
leave because
Mhm.
there is that connection and the messaging and the branding problem over there. And eventually, they might make a connection with us and they're interested to work, but the offer that we have at the end, the way that the deal is set up is not a good way, or it's not a good time for them to make the sales happen. So we have a, let's call it, marketing problem, messaging problem, and sales problem, or
Mhm.
marketing problem, branding problem. So if we have these three different problems, why are they actually happening?
Mhm.
If they don't even pay attention to us, most of the time it's about all of the distractions that they're in their life
Yeah.
and in the market. Everybody has, the phone is ringing, or the messages are coming, or emails are here. I have different things in my head, and it's very hard to, as you said, to stand out in the market. So I have to do
Absolutely.
something to stand out and be different from everybody else. So that's the
Mhm.
first step. When it comes to not choosing us, we might get their attention, but so many other people are saying the same thing. So we all end
Yeah.
up,
Sameness.
suffering from sameness. So that's the situation, that the challenge is because of the sameness or the competition. And eventually, when it comes to the offer, the sales part of it, um, it becomes because the other two parts hasn't been done properly. We end up sounding the same like everybody else, and becomes a game of whoever has the lowest price. It's a
Yeah.
race to the bottom, commoditize, become a commodity. And usually when two things sound the same and look the same and walk the same, we go with the cheaper price. So whoever
Mhm.
has the lowest price wins. And my question is that really winning, to do
Yeah.
more work for less money? How does that
Mhm.
work? Right. Um, so going with that, I thought, with the attention and marketing problem and dealing with the distraction, we need to get their attention
Yep.
by having a conversation that basically discusses the right value for them.
Mhm.
If you and I meet and I start talking to something that is really important for you, you say,
Mhm.
yes, that's the problem I have. Yes, he knows it really well. Or he just explained it better than I could, and all of that. That's the conversation about the right value. And when we do that, people feel heard,
Mm.
right?
Yeah.
They say,
So
I have this
important.
problem, and we talk about it. So that's a very that's what I want people to do. The first step is come up with a very clear problem statement.
Yeah. Well, I want to
This
get to that for
Yes,
a minute, Kay, because I think this is super important because I've noticed this too. When you're a fractional, okay, let's
yes,
just use a CFO or something. Okay, we're all
yeah,
dealing with numbers, but how do you uniquely position? Because you're going to sound the same like every fractional CFO out there.
yes,
I look at your numbers and I do financial forecasting or whatnot. I'm like, "Yeah, okay, I hear that from everybody else. Well, how are you, like you said, being noticed and relevant
yes,
in the marketplace?" And this is what I hear you helping them.
yes. And it's
Mhm,
simple, it's something that they do, and there are many aspects to their business. I'm not a fractional CFO, but I'm
mhm,
guessing one could be focused on um, team growth. The other one could be, I'm a fractional CFO that I helped with the strategy of more profitability with what you got. I
mhm,
could be a fractional CFO that I am also knowledgeable when it comes to product. Um, I could be a fractional CFO that specializes in preparing your company for acquisition,
mhm,
or all the other scenarios that they could have. They could be their specialties and subspecialties of announcing that I have this title and this is the part that I do. Like, I have a friend, he's an accountant,
mhm.
but they, from all of the different parts of accounting, they are into saving tax.
Yep.
So See, that's the substance. So the same thing can happen to every one of us. And sometimes it's not about what we do, it's about how we do it. Like as you mentioned, my brand has a lot to do with simplification and clarity
Yes.
and getting, making it, doable and that sort of thing. So anti-complexity is my thing, is how I do it. So that could
Mm-hmm.
be so whatever we can bring to the picture to show how different we are than other people. Because at the end of the day, better is not better. Different is better than better.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
so if we show up, this is how we are different, people understand us. If we will occupy space in their head, we become memorable, we become unignorable, we become referable, all of that because we told them this is how I am different from everybody else.
Yeah. Well, and one thing, you told me, or we talked about before we recorded the podcast, is that you
Yes.
spent, I don't know how many, you did like you did dozens of interviews, as I recall, right?
Yes.
Talking with
Yes.
folks, having these conversations to find out and gain really, number one, building trust and insight with all of these individuals. Tell me a little bit about that journey,
Yeah.
because I think that's so fascinating.
Oh,
You're a
thank
person that has done the work, going through all this data, combing through it, if you will.
Yes. Well, thank you for asking.
Yeah.
The thing that I noticed is we have our specialties and we can help people. And when we talk to people, because we are specialized in what we do, we can guess what their problem is. Yet every different part of the market has its own version of it. There are nuances, and it's important for people to feel heard, and
Mhm.
after that to feel understood. And
Yes.
I wasn't confident about the fractional market to do that. If it was coaches and consultants, yeah, thumbs up. But I thought, hey, there must be a difference here, something that needs to happen. I need to hear it, from themselves.
Mhm.
I'm going to have a bunch of informational interviews to
Mhm.
really understand on both like mental, psychological, emotional, the terminology, the language that they have to really get it. Because the more I understand it, the better um, more I'm going to be able to help them with the right
Yes.
kind of a phrasing or solution. And that's like not this much kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Yes. So I started to reach out to people, strangers who had the fractional in their title.
Mhm.
And I send them a message. Hello, you don't know me. And this is not a sales message. Like I am trying to, get into this market and build services. And you seem like a kind of a person who I would be serving in future. Again, not a sales message. I like to, pick your brain, hear it from you. What are the challenges? What's working? What's not working? And
Right.
if you don't mind sharing your insights with me. I sent so many messages. I have no idea how many I sent, but I feel very lucky that um, 57 of them said yes. I had 80 meetings with those 57 people and I was recording everything. So it was over 2,900 minutes of Zoom recordings
Mm.
and over 216,000 lines of transcription. Well,
Wow.
thank God for AI.
Yeah, right. Oh my
That
goodness.
allowed me to basically go through all of that, listen to them, find the terminology, see the patterns, come up with product ideas, come up with problem statements, identify the top 10 challenges, and from that, the top 3 challenges. And with what I have learned, and like that collaboration, brainstorming, and challenging discussion with AI, and then double checking it with those people, I was able to, you know, identify what needs to be done. And guess what? It was the same things that I could guess at before this, but the nuances made it
Mm,
the right fit. And
right.
even the language, like we use this word here, but not for the other market and all of that.
Mhm, mhm. I mean, that's just, again, why I wanted you have on the podcast. As you guys are listening to Kay here, he's done the work, he's put this together. So if you're a fractional in particular, you're like, man, how can I dial this in better? Because people don't know, they don't notice me, or they're not choosing me, or perhaps
Yes.
they're not even buying from you. This is where Kay comes in. One of the things you brought up, Kay, that when we were talking, that I think is important is, you said, what were, um, or like we're talking about values and
Yes.
vision, but what also, what we're against. You mentioned, like, how do we clarify that, right? Speak a
Yes.
little bit
Yes.
about that.
Yes. Um, we know that everything has a meaning. It has a meaning because it has an opposite, right? Like dark and light, or I don't know, heaven and hell, or
Mhm,
day
mhm,
and night. If
Mhm.
imagine if one of them didn't have an opposite, does it really click in, or does it have make sense? Does it have any meaning? So that's the habit that I have, that everything I noticed gets my attention. I'm thinking, so what's the opposite of that? What's the opposite of that? Um, so if And I told you my brand is Kayvon the Simplifier, but I didn't choose this. Didn't even think like that, because the thing that you're good at, or I'm good at, or we are oblivious to our own strengths,
Mm. Yeah.
right? I'm thinking, like, doesn't everybody think like that? Apparently
Mhm.
not. Somebody else does something, and it's fascinating to me, and it's so natural to them. So because my clients and market kept saying the same thing, oh, you made it simple, you made it clear, it's simplified now. I thought maybe there is something there. So thanks for listening to the market. I picked that, and that's my brand. But when you have that, so what is the opposite of it? What is the opposite of simple? Really? Let's do some thinking here. So I obviously is complexity and complication. But what's the difference between those? Right? So complex situation is something that it has many moving parts, and we don't really know what the answer is. We have to figure out an answer. We have to come up with a solution to get closer to where we want to go to the results. Complicated, on the other hand, is we know what the solution is. It has just too many moving parts to sit in my head in a way that I can understand it, and I'm basically lost. So there is no figuring out. It's too much or too many
Mhm.
things going on. So that's the difference between complex and complicated. And as you can guess, complex is the worst kind of a situation. If I figure it out and now I am dealing with something that has too many moving parts, I am one step ahead. So to me, a complicated situation is an improvement upon complexity. So if I want to get to the ultimate goal of simplicity, the opposite end of the spectrum, the enemy, is complexity. So that's how I picked an enemy. Then you go towards, like, okay, why does it get complex? Who makes it complex? And
Yeah.
all of
Yeah.
that, to have your philosophical and perspective reasons in doing the business.
Yeah, no, I think that's, just genius. I mean, this is just one, um, uh just a great point you're bringing up here, Kay. And I think hopefully people are hearing this and they're saying, this is why you would want to work with somebody like Kay. And that's why we have you on the podcast because, you know, when we get these dialed in, and I think, the more we can do this, I mean, and I think both the fractional, what you do, I'm working on the people side, but just think about this as you're helping this business owner, this fractional get clear on this,
Yes.
how this will help the rest of their if they bring on employees or other people. What I found working with business owners is it gets clear, it gets muddy. They might know it again. What you said, they may know here, but they haven't communicated that clearly.
Yes.
And I know you also have ways of helping people communicate better, right?
Yes. Yes.
Speak a little bit about that too.
Yes. Definitely. Well, thank you for asking.
Yes.
So, yes, I work with basically two groups of people. I'm guessing this applies to you and many other people too.
Yeah.
Either I'm working with the individuals, or I'm working with, let's say, teams or
Mhm.
companies,
Yep.
right? It's the same work, but it kind of shows up in a different kind of a way.
Mhm.
So with individuals, it's that whole business growth coaching, how to do
Mhm.
business development, how to get attention, how to build connections, and how eventually convert a bunch of those connections into new clients. So attention, connection, conversion. The idea is you want to be unignorable, memorable, and referable. So
Yeah.
there are tools that we use, that there are frameworks that we have, like storytelling for business or story selling. Um, there is closing. There is how to come up with your unique value proposition. What is your
Mhm.
unique selling proposition, and what's the difference? Which one do we have to come up with? All of the elements that they are under those in these three main buckets. That's
Mhm.
what I work with my clients. And whether individual or a business, there are always three stages. And as you can see, I love the frameworks that they have: one, two, three, one, two, three.
Yes.
But there are three stages. Um, it's that whole. I want you to remember that complexity, complicated
Yep.
conversation in the back of your head. When we look at something, before anything else, first we have to make it work, right? It needs to get the ball from point A to point B somehow. And
Yep.
this is where, we're prototyping or MacGyvering things, and things are connected with duct tape and band-aid and that sort of thing. Somehow, very manual, it works. Good.
Yep.
That's the first step. First, we have to make it work. Then we make it work better, which is the process of optimizations and see
Yep.
what are the levers that we can pull and push to make things go smoother and faster.
Mhm.
And eventually, when we actually to make it work better. So first we have to make it work, then we make it work better,
Yep.
then we make it work faster, cheaper, easier, and all of that. So the first part is getting it going, which is the project management and getting to some
Mhm.
results. The second part is the optimization, and the third part is automation and technology and outsourcing and that sort of thing.
Mhm.
The danger lies that we have been trained and it's so attractive to us that we want to jump to the automation and
Automation.
fast and a
Yep.
lot too quick before it's actually doing the right work or it's
Right.
being optimized. So here's the thing. If we don't pay attention to doing the right things and doing them in the right way, we might optimize and automate the doing the wrong thing really
Yes.
fast.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
We don't want that. That won't get us
Yes.
what we, yeah, really. Yeah. No.
Yeah. So a part of my job is to put a stop to that and hold people to, like, you know what, we have to be satisfied with the first stage, that it's working, then we make it work better, then we make it work faster. So with my teams and business clients, it's all again about the communication, and biggest gap in the communication is that whole, either choosing you, are they buying from you, are they not paying attention to you, which is, the messaging and marketing, which has all of this stuff like positioning and pricing and offer design and pitching and, I don't know, landing page design and that sort of thing. They go under there. So, but it's that whole approach of 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, make it work. Is it buying? Diagnosis process to find out what's the right next step for them and get busy doing that.
Yeah. Oh man, we're we're getting squeezing so much in here. I know we're running out of time on the podcast
Yes.
episode here, Kayvon. Now I know I'm going to provide links here in our show notes. So it's Simplify. Tell me, make sure just so everybody hears where to find you. Where's the best way to
The
find you?
website is simplifiedprofits.com.
There you go.
Okay.
So, yeah.
And there are links and menus and that sort of thing that you can go. There are I think around 20 videos of my previous trainings and other things that they're there that they can watch for free and
Fantastic.
other things. And if they want to connect with me on any social media, I am Dr. Kayvon K. So DrKayvonK.
There you go.
That's the same
I don't
handle
think
that
there's
I have
any
everywhere.
other Dr. Kayvon K's out there. So shouldn't have too much trouble finding K on there.
Yes.
I mean, you've covered so much. I think it's hopefully everybody's hearing this, that hey, look, you don't have to go it alone. You have another person that you can get on your team. K's one of them, in helping make sure that you're found, that you're converting, you're getting those people that actually want to choose you and actually buy from you.
Yes.
Thank you so much for being on the podcast. Any last thoughts, any last takeaways or just advice as we're wrapping up here?
Yeah, one thing. I always think when I hear somebody else, if they give me the next thing to do, I think that has been valuable. Because so many times people tell me what's going on, but not what to do. So I don't want to make the same mistake. I do have a for now free, but I'm planning to make it a low cost course in the future. So it's not expensive. It's going to be, I don't know, $7 or $14 or whatever. But for now, it's free, and it's a 7-day email course.
Oh, awesome!
With explanations and worksheets and all of that. And it's and I call it like a fixing your conversation. It's about those attention, connection, conversion. I'm going to give you the link. That's kind of
Fantastic
gift, or I don't know, low
Thank
cost
you. Yeah,
thing
yes.
for people. Yeah. I think that would be a good place to start, and from there they can get exposed to the material, take the first few steps until they're ready for the next step that we can take together.
That's great. Okay.
Yes.
Well, and again, that's why I have you here, because we're all about bringing value, helping, first. And if you find that, you see that's helpful, go further. And Kay is a great person to talk to. As you can tell, super friendly and welcoming. It was a real pleasure having you on the podcast.
I really enjoyed this conversation, David. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you so much. Thanks everybody for following along. Of course, we love it when you leave a comment, leave a review, subscribe. Come back for our next episode. And until then, be well. Thanks everybody for listening. Take care.